Good morning, everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Blessings be upon us. Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya. Dean of the Faculty of Law, 11 Maret University, Profesor Dr. I Gusti Ayu Ketut Rahmi Handayani, SHMM, Honorable Mr. and Mrs. Professor, lecturers, academics and researchers, honorable speakers and participants of the today's international conference, distinguished guests and all participants. First of all, I would like to thank the organizing committee for inviting me to give a keynote speech at the international conference this morning. The keynote speech is titled, "The Role of the Constitutional Court in Strengthening Energy, Environment, Epidemiology, and Information Systems as a Response to Industrial Revolution 4.0. The honorable conference participants and audience, talking about the Industrial Revolution 4.0, it cannot be separate from the usage of advances technology, communication, and information, or ICT, the implementation of our daily activities. However, the Industrial Revolution 4.0 is not just an ordinary technology, but advanced the technology that should be able to make work more effective and efficient. Based on a report from the Ministry of Communication and Information of the Republic of Indonesia, the technology that is the main focus in Industrial Revolution 4.0 consists of, first, the Internet of Things, IoT, second, Big Data, third, Artificial Intelligence, AI, fourth, Cloud Computing, and fifth, Additive Manufacturing. Several studies resulting that there are positive implications for the implementation of Industrial Revolution 4.0. For example, in terms of excellence, the Industrial Revolution 4.0 can provide convenience in accessing information and increase the effectiveness in the field of the production. Moreover, its implication can also increase national income and open up greater job opportunities for experts. However, several things need to be anticipated so that the implementation of the Industrial Revolution 4.0 does not bring new problems such as the system vulnerability to cyber attack and the high cost of investing in tools and workers. Another thing that also needs to be anticipated is the increasing flow of urbanization and the emergence of negative impacts on the environment. Although the application of advanced technology can bring more efficient and effective work results, certain professions, such as lawyers, feel threatened by the existence of artificial intelligence, AI, which can replace some of their legal service, as well as the universities where some academics still feel that it is not necessary to apply technology because they have difficulty understanding the use of the technology. As a result, academics who do not try to understand and utilize information technology are even more left behind compared to their fellow academics. Therefore, the effort to understand and use technology in this disruptive era is necessity. The more we stay away from technology, the future we will fall behind. Within this context, the Constitutional Court of the Republic of Indonesia has implemented and made technology a system that must be developed in the settlement of cases. This is reflected in the vision of the Constitutional Court, namely enforcing the constitutional through a modern and reliable judiciary. The modern term in the vision of the Constitutional Court refers to things. First, the judiciary use a high level of information, communication, and technology, ICT, in the settlement of its cases. And second, the mindset of all employees at the Constitutional Court who must think ahead, be creative and innovative by presenting various solutions so that they can always keep abreast of the development and community needs. Therefore, the Constitutional Court of the Republic of Indonesia has since the beginning implemented several digital technologies and applications to support the trial process, including electronic filing, video conference hearings, case tracking system, video streaming, court recording systems, interactive website, and digital applications. The application of ICT makes the court easier to exercise its constitutional authority granted by the Indonesia Constitution. The authorities given by the 1945 Constitution of the Republic of Indonesia are: first, reviewing the law against the Constitution; second, deciding on dispute over the authority of state institution whose authority is granted by the Constitution; third, deciding on the dissolution of political parties; fourth, deciding on disputes about the result of the general election; and fifth, giving a decision on the opinion of the House of Representatives regarding alleged violations by the President and or Vice President according to the Constitution. Based on its authority, the Constitutional Court of the Republic of Indonesia has 5 functions, including: first, the guardian of the Constitution; second, the guardian of democracy; third, the protector of citizens' constitutional rights; fourth, the protector of state ideology; and fifth, the final interpreter of the Constitution. Honorable participant and audience, since its establishment in 2003, the Constitutional Court has decided on 3,225 cases, a total of 1,422 decisions, or 44% of all decisions are decisions in cases of judicial review. In the deciding cases of judicial review, the Constitutional Court always used the 1945 Constitution as its constitutional basis to assess whether a law is contrary to the Constitution or not. If the Constitutional Court decided that a law is contrary to the Constitution, the part of the law or even the whole of the law will be annulled by the Constitutional Court. This system is a consequence of the application of the principle of constitutional supremacy with an emphasis on the mechanism of check and balances between branches of state power. In the context of energy, environment, epidemiology, and also information systems, as was the topic given by the conference committee to me. We can find articles relating to these matters in the Indonesian Constitution. For example, concerning energy and the environment, Article 3(3) of the 1945 Constitution stipulates the following provisions. First, the economy is structured as a joint effort based on the principle of kinship. Second, production branches that are important to the state and which affect the livelihood of the people are controlled by the state. Third, the earth and water and the natural resources contained therein are controlled by the state and used for the greatest prosperity of the people. Fourth, the national economy is organized based on economic democracy with the principle of togetherness, efficiency with justice, sustainability, environmental insight, independence, and maintaining a balance of progress and unity of the national economy. Fifth, further provisions regarding the implementation of this article are regulated in law. Furthermore, the provision regarding epidemiology and health can be found in Article 28, its paragraph 1st of the 1945 Constitution, which states, "Everyone has the right to life and physical and spiritual prosperity, to have a place to live, and to have a good and healthy living environment, and have the right to obtain health service." Moreover, there is also a provision in Article 34, paragraph 3 of the 1945 Constitution, which states, "The state is responsible for providing adequate health care facilities and public service facilities." In the context of prevention and handling the COVID-19 pandemic, these two articles in the Constitution have always been a reference for the government to try to conduct its constitutional obligations in providing decent health service. Then, related to information system and technology, two provisions in the 1945 Constitution allude to this. First, Article 28C, paragraph 1, state that everyone has the right to develop themselves through fulfilling their basic needs, have the right to education and benefits from science and technology, art and culture, to improve the quality of their life and for the welfare of mankind. Second, the provision in Article 31, paragraph 5 states, "The government advances science and technology by supporting high religious values and national unity for the advancement of civilization and the welfare of mankind." The question is, what is the meaning and nature of the inclusion of these provisions in the Indonesian constitutions? This has a positive implication that all the laws and regulations and all policies and decisions made by the government must be in line and must not conflict with the article in the Constitution. In the context of the formation of laws, as I explained earlier, this constitutional article can be used as a thought one in filing a case for judicial review at the Constitutional Court. Honorable audience, there are various types of laws that have been tested in the Constitutional Court. In the energy sector, the Constitutional Court has ruled on cases of judicial review of the law on electricity, the water resources law, the oil and gas law, and the mineral and coal mining law. As an example of its decision, the Constitutional Court once annulled the electricity law in its entirety because the substance of the law was deemed to laden with the privatization systems through the application of unbundling competitions, so that it contradicted Article 33 of the 1945 Constitution. In its legal considerations, the Constitutional Court provides constitutional guidelines by confirming that the state can do 5 things in controlling production branches, especially energy sources in Indonesia, including first, based on regulation, Regelendat; second, well management, Beheersdat; third, policy making, Beleid; fourth, arrangement, Bestuursdat; and fifth, supervision and controlling, Toezichthoudingsdat. This decision then becomes jurisprudence for the Constitutional Court in deciding similar cases in the field of energy resources. Then, the Constitutional Court has also ruled on cases of judicial review on environmental laws, such as the forestry law, plantation law, environmental protection and management law, and the law on the management of coastal zone and small islands. Interestingly, in some of these decisions, in addition to providing legal consideration in favor of environmental sustainability, the Constitutional Court also seeks to defend the existence and right of indigenous peoples that are hereditary, where they have life in harmony and coexistence with the environment and nature in Indonesia. Meanwhile, several cases of judicial review of laws relating to information systems and technology were submitted to the Constitutional Court. For example, judicial review of the regional government law related to the use of e-voting and e-counting for regional head elections, judicial review of the traffic and road transport law related to the use of the Global Positioning System or GPS in driving, and judicial review of the Consumer Protection Act relating to the use of electronic money, e-money. In these decisions, the Constitutional Court provides legal consideration that show its support for the application of advanced technology by allowing the use of e-voting, GPS, and e-money in their respective fields. This means that the decision of the Constitutional Court are also in line with its vision, namely to create a modern court. Honorable participants, the COVID-19 pandemic has changed the way people live and interact with each other. The implementation of health protocols and distance restrictions are mandatory policies taken by governments around the world. Even though community activities have decreased considerably during the pandemic, the cases that go to the Constitutional Court remain stable and even tend to increase in number. One of the cases handled by the Constitutional Court that is directly related to epidemiology is the review of the Health Quarantine Act. The petitioners disputed the government's policy of implementing large-scale social restriction, PSBB, which limited people from traveling to prevent the spread of COVID-19. According to the petitioners, in addition to the policy being deemed not right on target, the policy is also considered to be detrimental to their constitutional rights as advocated because they cannot attend trial in the general court. The Constitutional Court then decided not to accept the petition because the petitioners were deemed unable to clearly explain their constitutional losses, both actual and potential. This case becomes interesting when it is related to the topic of the Industrial Revolution 4.0. The COVID-19 pandemic has indeed hampered the trial process in various judicial institutions. However, this did not happen in the Constitutional Court long before the COVID-19 pandemic. The Constitutional Court had been accustomed to implementing a remote trial process using video conferencing technology, where the parties could convene in several separate places simultaneously. Moreover, the Constitutional Court collaborated with 42 universities in all provinces throughout in Indonesia by providing video conferencing equipment and mini courtrooms so that parties do not need to come to the Constitutional Court building in the capital city of Jakarta, but simply convene from their respective regions. This pandemic has forced and accelerated the litigants in the Constitutional Court to adapt using the ICT system that has been prepared by the Constitutional Court for a long time. This is evidenced by the increasing number and percentage of case applications submitted online using the electronic filing application. Furthermore, with the trial process, almost all trials were conducted online via video conference using the Zoom application. Against this change, there is a classic saying that says, success is where preparation and opportunity meet. The pandemic turned out to be an opportunity for the Constitutional Court to change the mindset and culture of the people, especially justice seekers at the Constitutional Court to switch to using digital technology that has been prepared by the Constitutional Court since a decade ago. This is taken by the Constitutional Court solely to provide service that are much faster, transparent, and accountable for people seeking justice. This goal is in line with what was conveyed by Lord Chief Justice of England, Lord Heward, by saying, justice must not only be done, but must also be seen to be done. Honorable participants, based on the thing I have explained earlier, it can be said that the Constitutional Court of the Republic of Indonesia has long implemented advanced technology that is in line with the Industrial Revolution 4.0. The difference is the technology is applied in the judiciary so that it has its challenges. The decision handed down by the Constitutional Court have also had a significant impact in various fields of life, including in the field of energy, environment, health, and epidemiology, as well as information systems. The decision of the Constitutional Court can be used as guiding stars for the promotion and protection of the constitutional rights of citizens in these fields. In the era of the Industrial Revolution 4.0, judicial institutions and law establishment should be able to adopt the rapid development of ICT while at the same time encouraging substantive rationality and the process and achieving its goals. The application of law and technology must also be able to detect the regulatory needs of the community by considering the values that exist in the community. Regulations through the law, especially in the field of energy, environment, health, and information systems, need to be encouraged to be more prospective than what already exists today. This can only be realized if we pay attention to at least three main things, which are mindset, change, and action. That is, we must have an open mind to existing technological developments. We also have to be willing to change, adapt, and move to develop information system and technology according to their individual needs. Finally, all of that can only happen if we take action. Without action and measure, this change will only be wishful thinking. Moreover, the future can only be achieved if we are willing to change and adapt. To close this keynote speech, I will quote a statement from President of the United States, John F. Kennedy, relating to the meaning of the change. He said, "Change is the law of life, and those who look only to the past or present are certain to miss the future." That's the keynote speech that I can convey. Hopefully, this international conference can run smoothly and successfully and provide the best result for all of us. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Blessing be upon us. Om Santi 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 Om.